You're filming.
All right. Well, I'm Haley. You know that.
Bye, Haley.
I did my extra research project on formative assessment in the classroom was kind of the main overall idea. I focused on entrance and exit slips. Sometimes they were what we called like mid-lecture or mid-lesson, so they were done like at a break, but maybe in the middle of the period. But what I was looking at was the feedback on them specifically, so they would do an entrance ticket, an exit ticket, and then I would take all of those and I would give pretty extensive feedback on them, and I would give them back the next day for them to read. And the feedback needed to be 100% positive, if at all possible. So even if they got something wrong, you still addressed that it was incorrect, but you didn't just like mark it wrong. You said, well, you did this right, but be careful here, or you just had to be careful how you worded things, so that way it wasn't like big splashing red line. Okay, you're wrong. You have no idea what you're doing. Sometimes as positive as it could be would just be like, you know, if you would like some more help, feel free to see me during AI is a time where we've got like 35 minutes at the end of the day where kids can come in and get extra help, but it doesn't just say you're wrong. So I did this for about three and a half weeks, kind of choppy with all of our snow days. It was for a whole unit. It was a geometry-based unit. I'm in an 8th grade classroom. I probably should have said that. It was in a geometry-based unit on transformations, reflections, rotations, translations, all that kind of fun stuff. And so for 3.5 weeks, about every other day, originally when I planned this, I had said I was going to do one every day, and it's not possible with all the snow days. You get behind, and you would think that you start to learn that an entrance ticket that takes you 30 seconds to do, you expect your kids to be able to do it in about 3 minutes, winds up taking them about 11, and you've just lost 11 minutes of your 47-minute period, and it's not worth losing 11 minutes for. But I gave them a pre-survey at the very beginning, before we started all of this, that just kind of looked at their self-efficacy. You know, how do they view themselves in math? And there was a series of like 8 or 9 questions just on a very simple 1 to 4 Likert scale. And then I took those and I averaged the scores to give them a self-efficacy score. This was just so I could put some numbers to things out of 4. And it was to give me an idea where each kid thinks their self-efficacy is in mathematics. At the end of the 3.5 weeks, doing an entrance or an exit slip about every other day with the feedback on it, which was about, I think it was 9 total, because what it ended up being, they got the same survey, the exact same questions, and they took it again, and I averaged those scores to get, again, a same score out of 4, and then I compared their first score out of 4 with their second score out of 4. I also gave them a survey. There was 6 questions, which were open-ended. Did you like the entrance and exit tickets? How did they make you feel? Was the feedback helpful? Did you use them to study from? How do you feel that they helped you in your abilities? Things like that, just so I could get some more out of them than just some numbers. And looking at everything over the course of the 3.5 weeks, the self-efficacy scores improved, not by landslides, but 87% of the kids had an improved score or a score that stayed the same. A score that stayed the same, there was a lot of them that had very high self-efficacy, and so they had a 4 out of 4 and they couldn't improve because the scale didn't go any higher. So about 87% improved. An improvement may have been by like 0.125 out of 4, which is about 3%, but it's only over a course of 3 weeks, and our scale's only out of 4, so it was kind of hard to show. But I got more out of their personal feedback, their comments. Reading through them, it was pretty eye-opening that they are helpful. The entrance and exit tickets and the comments on them, the feedback on them are very helpful. That they really appreciate being told, instead of just like 10 out of 10, they got all of the questions right, because none of the grades counted for anything. If you just wrote like, great work, you really know what you're doing, they really stated that those really made them feel really good about themselves. They said they're not used to getting positive grades, that's not normal. So it made them feel like they really knew what they were doing. There was some other things that they said that I wasn't studying or looking at. They said they really liked them because it was constantly reminding them maybe what they learned the day before. If we did it as an entrance ticket, it was easy to kind of get them started in the class mode. That's not what I was looking at, but several of them said they liked them because of that. I did not look at their test grades intentionally. That's not what I was planning to look at. But after giving them the unit test at the end, they actually did extremely well on it. They were really high averages. So I ended up comparing them unintentionally to test averages from before. And the test averages, on average, went up about 9% on a test average. I think some people, it wasn't, we've been doing a lot of heavy algebra, and so for some, just this geometry completely changing. I think some of them just do better at, which that played into effect. But that was about it. Are there questions? Anything? Yes.
How did you use, they got entrance tickets, how did you use their, that to model your teaching next? Like, did you look for misconceptions and you had to?
Yes, I mean, that obviously, the point of the entrance tickets is, I read them, I gave feedback on them. If I could tell clearly they missed the ballpark on something, then I restructured my lesson for the next day. But my research wasn't on that. I didn't care about my end of it. I cared more about their beliefs just based on reading these comments from them. Does that make sense, right? Yeah. Sometimes one of the favorite, has anybody ever seen the My Favorite No on an entrance? You take an entrance ticket or an exit ticket that's wrong, but it points out a very common misconception, or you like something about it that you want everybody to see, even though it's incorrect, because it allows you to kind of have that teaching moment of saying, several of you made this same mistake, and you delete the name off of it, and then you kind of display it with everybody. And that's kind of how you go over it the next day.
I'm switch for the next person. You can finish your statement if you
Okay.
need to.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions?